So, Anivar, Arvind, we were just talking about other things, but now we'll focus on AI and non-English languages. What's your thoughts on this?
So, whatever we called as historically as data science, natural language processing, machine learning, OCRing, all of them are now under the term AI.
Under the
term AI.
AI.
So, in our work in Indian languages, I will call it as 4 phases so far.
Sorry?
4 phases. There is a time in which we are enabling languages for desktop, languages for mobile, web, languages for web, then the languages for mobile, then this NLP or machine learning, AI, data science, whatever you call it, that time started. So now window time, as a window time, you call all of them as AI. So, but at the same time, the way in which current AI is happening is mostly like a race around larger and larger language models without actually looking at the core linguistical issues around.
What are they?
So we can understand that because all this discussion currently happening around generative AI, not all the kind of AI, right? Generative AI discussions are primarily around generative AI is a feature for next word or a context prediction, which is based upon a large language model, and that primarily built around English. As long as you are not telling any language, it is English, right? And for other languages, there is multiple other level of issues, from data scarcity, data droughts, data scarcity, data droughts. Yeah, the kind of morphological complexity around languages, especially the complex script languages like India. We had a long time in solving these issues around phones, display, the computing around it, the standards around it. All these kind of issues are anyway resurfacing with any kind of transformation will resurface all these kind of problems, right? So all of them are there. Then we have this bigger issues around the kind of absence of a proper technology research around technology and academic research around the languages, and whatever foundational tech we built over a period of time around this is mostly force efforts. There is no other efforts happening in this space.
I see.
So bridging the linguistical experience as well as building the tools, bridging all of them together is mostly free software effort, which is benefiting all the kind of systems, not only this, because force systems taken over the whole complex script language space. Even if you look at Adobe's World Ready Composer in the cloud solutions, it is still using the hyphenation methods from the open source library created by our developers. Right? If you look at sorting algorithms, it is still built upon the UCA sorting algorithm, Unicode sorting algorithm, built by force people. So these are the baselines around it. So, but if you look at the bigger level of problems around it, there is a bigger room in which you need to understand the foundational challenges. And foundational challenges need investment. There is a lot of it's not just the data, it's morphological complexity level, the kind of tokenization happening around it. For example, for a same thing, or an English user, if it is asking to an LLM, the kind of, it's AI work in a token pricing model. The number of tokens needed for English is very low, while complex script languages, the token number is increasing quite a lot. Same query, you need to pay more to get the result. And the result you are getting will be less quality result, mainly because you have data droughts and you don't have enough corpus.
You mean the data in non-English languages is in shortage worldwide?
Shortage.
What is the state of producing knowledge in Indian languages today?
It's producing, so historically if you look at the scene, there are translation effort, translation missions, there is tagging and preparing the corpus around it, voice and text and all this kind of corpus around it. But none of them are not came much into public domain. And maybe some of them may be empowering the Bhashini kind of government initiatives around it.
Empowering?
Bhashini kind of a government initiatives around it, but it is not came to public domain much.
Okay.
even though the TDIL was working on all this for a long time.
Technology development for Indian languages.
Yeah, TDIL. So they and Bhashini is a new brand name for all this.
Yeah.
None of them are. It is stuck in research institutions most of the time. And open source communities were building their corpus on top of Wikipedia and crawled web with open data sets, all of them. And Internet Archive is scanning the books and putting it in.
Who? Sorry?
Internet Archive
Internet Archive.
is scanning the books and putting it on public domain.
But it's not enough. It's never enough.
It is never enough. Indian languages, it is never enough.
Who are the main producers of Indian language knowledge today?
There is not much producers is the concern I have.
Newspapers?
Potentially newspapers, op-eds, regional language newspapers are there, they're op-ed, and they don't have a way of archiving their text data.
I see.
Much.
That is the problem.
That is a problem. They all need to pay for bandwidth bill, right? So they will retire digital contents periodically.
And plus copyright is there, so they don't want to share it also.
Now everyone is going into paywalls as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so even crawling the content is also not possible nowadays.
I see.
Yeah.
So how do we get out of this problem?
I think this is a larger problem. How to address is a bigger challenge around it. Everyone is thinking about the same problem now. Everyone working on this. So for example, IIT Madras has this AI for Bharat. They are also working.
AI for Bharat.
Yeah, they are also working on similar how to build better data sets around this problem. And I think too many efforts are happening this ground, but at the same time there is no getting the data is not enough.
You know Subbu Shastri, the guy who had done news.
Like long back.
News.
No, I remember. I remember that one.
Newsrack. Newsrack.in.
Yeah, Newsrack for Narmada movement.
He created it for the NGOs, but it was very useful to many of us.
Created initially for Narmada movement to archive its news report.
So what Newsrack would do was they were like a Google alerts for Indian languages. 3-4 of the major Indian languages. And you know what? I met Subbu Shastri at a Wikimedia conference recently, and he was surprised that we were still in touch.
Did you
No, here in that was in Pune or Hyderabad. Okay. I'm not very sure.
Wikimedia for some time.
He still is. He still is. He's a. So unfortunately, he had to retire newslaundry.in. It was doing an excellent job. So you could track whatever keywords you wanted from an Indian language
I know that.
perspective.
I know the website. I was a follower.
Yeah. So there is a data scarcity. There is a data drought.
Data scarcity is one part of the problem, but bigger problem is the morphological complexity.
Morphological complexity.
Morphological complexity.
Meaning what? How would you explain it?
There is, if you look at Indian languages, words are formed with words will combine together and form complex sentences.
Like German, for example.
Like Finnish or Uralic languages. Or so the kind of and
you are giving the example of your name.
Yeah. So for example, Anivarne kurichu, Anivarnodu.
What does it mean?
It's all can I ask is about Anivar is Anivarne kurichu. Anivarne it's referring Anivar. Right, so all this kind of forms is called as agglutination. So words, it's a kind of forms around each and every word, and agglutination is the tendency of words joining together, and it's a difficult problem, and that is common around many of the complex languages, especially Dravidian languages, and that creates a number of words is quite high.
I see.
Number of words in Indian language, Malayalam language is very high.
How many? In lakhs?
There is no number.
Really?
So when we built a dictionary in 2008, that itself had a 2 lakh plus.
Really? 200,000.
Yeah, 200,000, and now it is a 16 lakhs plus in one of our courses.
Wow.
Okay.
1.6 million.
Yeah. So number is basically like it will increase like anything. Unless you can have named entity recognition, splitting it out, understanding what is this part, what is that part, that kind of a morphological splitting is required. So there is a lot of technology to be built on Indian languages,
So what's your suggestion as far as AI goes? We
I
need
am
to be
saying that-
sensitive to this, or
No, I am saying that there is an expectation
expectation?
mismatch around Indian languages AI. Second, there is a lot of foundational challenges to be addressed, and that need a collective work of language technology, computational linguists, language experts, and data scientists. And third, the current approach around people working on this sector is building bigger and bigger language models by machine translating the content, and that is disregarding the structure of a language. And since there is no content, what they do is they put Google Translate or IndiTrans, generate a lot of synthetic corpus, and that synthetic text is used for training or tokenization or creating the data sets. So you will get a bigger data set. You can claim that you have a bigger data set, but at the same time, whatever that if the data set is not dependable, whatever they are producing won't be a proper expected kind of a text.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So, and that's a kind of a new language evolution, I will say.
Very interesting. On this point, I think we'll leave it to everyone to
this
decide.
is almost like, and Wikipedia is almost going to the same program. Right?
What's that?
So, because one side there is web is already becoming machine translated synthetic text in most of the world languages. Wikipedia becomes something like a new organic kind of text, like a human in the loop kind of a text. So it's like organic vegetables kind of thing, right? So it's a re-evolution of that happening around it. So tech, there is a conservatism versus evolution, right? So what will be the new language? I don't know, and what is right or what is wrong also I don't know.
You were saying something about English today? English?
This is happening in almost, for example, Hindi.
Yeah.
People who are working on Hindi LLMs and all, they are claiming that Hindi LLM is ready. But if you look at carefully, it is nothing but a English.
I see.
And English is evolving as a search query language actually.
As a?
Search query language. People search on English, which is a mix of Hindi and English together. And that is easy because next to it predictions are easy that way. Understanding context is easy that way. Hindi's complexity will be reduced. And maybe that will happen to all the languages, I don't know.
On that thought, we'll leave it. Thanks so much for your time, Arvind. Really, Anivar, really great. Thanks.